Trump claims that his threat to eliminate Iranian civilization, a multi-millennia existing civilization, was what brought the Iranians to beg him to have these meetings in Islamabad. Iranian officials told me, no, the opposite is actually true, that it's the United States that has been asking us for a deal. And the Iranian position is that Trump had painted himself into a corner, that he was increasingly finding himself mired in a quagmire, and that the Iranians essentially agreed to this 2-week deal because they felt that they had more leverage than they've had at any point since the 2015 JCPOA agreement was signed under Barack Obama. So they go to Islamabad, and the Iranians have consistently, what they've consistently said has consistently been proven to be true. They said they went in there with their minimal bottom line conditions for ending the war. They said that they came within inches of some sort of an agreement, in the words of the foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, but that J.D. Vance, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner returned and reverted to this maximalist demand posture. And so, to sum it up, President Trump, on the one hand, is saying the Iranians are begging him, and then on the other hand, he keeps having to make these escalations in his threats to destroy civilizations. Now they're implementing this naval blockade. It's clear that the Iranians retain control of the Strait of Hormuz, and despite the overwhelming military force that the United States has unleashed on Iran, and certainly the Israelis have been a major part of this as well, despite the fact that they assassinated the supreme leader, much of the military and political leadership of the country, the Iranians are actually, on a basic level, winning this war in both a symmetric and an asymmetric manner, because they hold all the cards to whether or not this conflict ends. And so the irony is that Donald Trump right now says that he's blockading the Strait of Hormuz to try to achieve an opening of the Strait of Hormuz. And as you mentioned earlier, Clayton, Ansar Allah, often referred to as the Houthis in Yemen, they have not yet implemented a blockade on the other side of the straits here in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And remember, you have this armada of oil tankers that have amassed on the western coast of Saudi Arabia as a result of the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz of any U.S.-linked ships. The Iranians will correct the record and say it's remained open for any ships that are not attached to the United States or Israeli war against Iran. If Ansar Allah then blockades that part of world shipping, what we've seen the past several weeks with the global economy is going to become much, much worse. So, Donald Trump, I think, for anyone paying attention, has egg on his face. He's been utterly humiliated by the Iranians. They win by not losing. They win by every time Donald Trump comes out and says they're going to capitulate by not capitulating. And I don't get any sense from the sources I talked to in Tehran of panic. If anything, they feel that they have more leverage right now, and that Donald Trump is flailing around and doesn't quite know how to handle them.